My girlfriend Sarah and I signed the lease 3 days ago. We've been dating for 6 years now, and at 26 and 25, we figure it was time to stop living with roommates. She just got promoted to assistant manager of the bookstore, and I work night security at a warehouse. Money's tight, especially with my credit card debt, but we were determined to make it work. House hunting was brutal. Everything decent was way out of our price range. We were about to settle for a studio in a sketchy neighborhood when we stumbled across this listing. A 3-bedroom townhouse with a small garden, updated appliances, and walking distance to the metro. The rent was half what should have been. The property manager explained the catch: a 7-year lease minimum, no deposit required, and absolutely no property inspections. We'd be responsible for all damages at move-out. The previous tenant had lived there for 40 years. We didn't even schedule a viewing. We just signed. Moving day was exhausting. By the time we collapsed on our air mattress last night, we were too tired to care that we were sleeping in an empty bedroom surrounded by boxes. Sarah had an early morning shift, so she left before sunrise. I woke up around 10 to start unpacking. That's when I found the envelope. It was taped inside the pantry, hidden behind a shelf liner. To the new residents of 247 Hartley Lane was written across the front in elegant handwriting. I sat down at our folding table and opened it. Dear new residents, welcome to your new home. I'm Margaret Shun, and I lived here with my wife Dorothy for 4 decades. She passed last month after a long illness, and my daughter insists I can no longer manage the stairs or the upkeep. Perhaps she's right. The house feels empty now. After 40 years, you learn a place's rhythms. You understand its moods and requirements. I feel obligated to share what I've learned. This is a wonderful home, truly, but you must follow certain protocols to remain safe and comfortable here. 1. The landlord never responds to anything. Pay rent on time through the online portal. I met him once in 40 years, 3 days late with rent. I was never late again. For repairs, contact the property management company only. 2. Never open the basement door between 2:17 and 4:44 a.m. This is non-negotiable. I cannot emphasize this enough. Many previous tenants ignored this rule. They don't live here anymore. Some don't live anywhere anymore. I won't elaborate. Just don't do it. This is life or death. 3. You'll hear piano music from the unit next door at odd hours. That's Mrs. Rodriguez in 245. She's lovely. Feel free to chat when you see her getting her mail. But when you hear the music, never knock to ask her to quiet down. She doesn't own a piano. Don't acknowledge the music at all. For if you see a mailman in a gray uniform on your porch, don't open the door. Our actual mail carrier wears blue and arrives at 2:30 p.m. daily. The one in gray will seem perfectly pleasant through the window, but do not engage. He'll eventually leave. Don't accept anything from him, no matter what he claims it is. 5. Dispose of all food waste immediately. Use the garbage disposal for everything possible. Take the trash out every single night. If you have pets, watch them eat and remove their bowls the moment they're done. The things that emerge after 2:17 a.m. track food sources. You don't want them following a scent trail. Between 2:17 and 4:44 a.m., you can leave out whatever you want. They're busy in the basement then. 6. 3 houses on this street, 255, 257, and 259, burned down in 1991. Everyone inside died. The lots were never redeveloped. Sometimes people claiming to live at those addresses will knock asking to borrow things. They look completely normal. Close and lock the door immediately. I installed a security chain and deadbolt specifically for this reason. They're persistent. 7. Keep something heavy within reach in every room. A hammer, a bat, a wrench. Despite your best efforts, sometimes things slip through. Better prepared than sorry. 8. The neighborhood association will invite you to join. The president, Marcus from 251, is genuinely nice. Join if you want, but never volunteer to watch his son. Marcus will ask because the poor man needs help, but if you say yes, don't claim I didn't warn you. 9. Stray hairless dogs sometimes wander the street. They're friendly enough, but they don't belong to anyone. Don't let them in your house. However, if you ever see someone from 255, 257, or 259 outside, grab one of those dogs and bring it inside with you immediately. Yes, their skin will burn your hands. They're protective, though, and I'd hate to see them hurt. 10. There's a water stain on the bedroom ceiling that occasionally turns dark red. It doesn't drip, spread, or worsen. It's been there longer than me. The landlord won't fix it. The property manager doesn't care. I call the police the first time it changed color. Waste of time. Ignore it. 11. Trust the mail carrier. His name is Robert Shun. No relation. He's had this route for 45 years. He has a key to the building and delivers at exactly 2:30 p.m. I can't write everything down or this would be a book, but if you have questions, Robert will help. 12. The first month is the hardest. You'll think you made a mistake. You're probably already thinking that. But if you survive the first month, this really is a wonderful place to live. Every home has quirks. This one is special. You can build a real life here if you follow these rules. I wish you the very best. Sincerely, Margaret Shun. My hand was shaking when I finished reading. Some kind of elaborate joke. But the property manager had mentioned the previous tenant was an elderly woman who'd lived here for decades. I couldn't imagine someone named Margaret Shun pranking strangers. Then I noticed things that matched the letter. There was a massive water stain above our bed that Sarah had already planned to report. No red color yet, but it was definitely there. And yesterday, during move-in, I'd commented on a weird-looking hairless dog wandering past our house. I was getting seriously freaked out. Our dream townhouse had just become something terrifying. I checked the time. 2:38 p.m. I'd missed the mail carrier by 8 minutes. When I opened the door, 2 pieces of mail addressed to Margaret Shun sat on the welcome mat. At 3:15 p.m., my worst fears were confirmed. A man in a gray postal uniform appeared on our porch. He smiled and waved, holding a large package. I watched through the peephole as he knocked repeatedly, his smile never wavering. He called out friendly greetings, asked if anyone was home, mentioned he had an urgent delivery. I didn't move. I barely breathed. He stayed for exactly 45 minutes, never once stopping his knocking or his unnaturally cheerful banter. When he finally left, I ran to every window in the house. No gray uniformed mailman anywhere. No postal truck. He'd simply vanished. I've been texting Sarah all afternoon, begging her to come home early. She finally responded at 4 p.m., saying she couldn't leave until closing at 9 p.m. But Sarah never came home. Her shift should have ended at 9. By 11, I was panicking. By midnight, I'd left 50 voicemails. Finally, I called the bookstore. Her coworker said Sarah had left at 8:45 p.m., saying she was tired and heading straight home. Then I remembered. Sarah's shift started at 6 a.m. this morning. She would have left the house around 5:15 a.m. She would have used the basement door. It leads directly to the garage. The basement door were never supposed to open between 2:17 and 4:44 a.m. I've been trying to convince myself this is all an elaborate prank. Maybe Sarah wrote the letter. Maybe her co-workers aren't on it. But Sarah's handwriting looks nothing like that perfect cursive, and she's never been good at keeping secrets. It's almost 2 a.m. now. She still isn't home. What if it's all true? I think we made a terrible mistake. The worst part, according to the letter, after midnight, I can't go down to the basement to look for her. Not alone. I grew up in a decent suburb about an hour from the city. Nothing fancy, but comfortable. Safe streets, good schools, the kind of place where kids still ride bikes until dark. My older brother and I had a pretty normal childhood. Summer camps, family game nights, the occasional vacation we'd saved up for. Both my parents work in finance, and they're good at what they do. When I was 15, they bought this enormous house on the edge of town. 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a huge yard. My brother and I were thrilled. We'd each have our own room with space to spare. The house's layout was unusual, though. All the bedrooms were downstairs. The entire upstairs was living space, kitchen, family room, den, even a home theater my dad built himself. I looked up comparable houses in the area once out of curiosity. This place should have cost twice what they paid for it. From day one, my parents had one unbreakable rule. If you need to go upstairs after midnight, bring someone with you. They repeated it constantly. At dinner, before bed, random reminders while watching TV. If they heard one of us up late, one of them would appear in the doorway to walk us upstairs if we needed something. It was relentless. The weird thing was, we never really needed to go upstairs at night. Our rooms were downstairs. The bathrooms were downstairs. Everything we used regularly was on our level. Sure, the kitchen was upstairs, but we could grab snacks before midnight. The home theater was fun for movie nights, but those always ended before midnight anyway. My brother and I asked about the rules sometimes. Why did it exist? What happened if we broke it? They'd change the subject or say, "We'll explain when you're older, sweetheart." As I got older, the whole situation started feeling increasingly bizarre. Why would they buy a house specifically arranged to keep us all downstairs? It didn't make sense. Right after my 21st birthday, I decided to engineer a situation where I'd absolutely need to go upstairs after midnight. Dad, I left my textbook in the theater room, and I have an exam tomorrow morning that I need to study for tonight. He looked skeptical. Can't you study first thing when you wake up? The exam's at 8 a.m., and I need at least 3 hours to review. I thought I had an extra day. I'm really stressed about this. He eventually agreed. We headed toward the staircase together. Before opening the door at the bottom of the stairs, he turned to me. Okay, he's going to try to pull me toward the sliding door. Don't let me open it, no matter what I do. Stay close. Grab me if you have to. I thought he was joking. He opened the door. The upstairs was dark, except for the moonlight streaming through the sliding glass door that led to our deck. Beyond that, our empty backyard stretched into darkness. I started toward the hallway leading to the theater room. My dad didn't follow. He just stood there, rigid, staring at the sliding glass door. Dad! He took a step toward the door, then another. That's when I saw it. A face pressed against the glass from outside. Features obscured by darkness, but the eyes were visible. Too wide, too bright, impossibly focused. The thing looked excited. My dad kept walking toward it, his hand reaching for the door handle. I grabbed his arm and yanked him backward toward the staircase. He resisted, still trying to move forward. I pulled harder, dragging him through the door and slamming it shut behind us. It took him a full minute to snap out of it. He stood there, staring at the closed door, weakly trying to turn the handle and go back. When he finally came around, he just looked at me. Did you get your textbook? Dad, what the hell was that? What was outside? His expression was strange. Annoyed, worried, frightened all at once. Bad things happen when we talk about him too much. As long as we go upstairs in pairs, we're safe. No one's let him in yet, and we're keeping it that way. That was it. I pressed him for answers all the way back to my room, but he ignored me. I wanted to tell my brother, but he was so carefree. I worried it would just terrify him without helping anyone. I tried asking my mom about it later, but she deflected, too. Sometimes she'd say something like, "We want to give you boys the best possible life," and walk away. It's been 3 years since that night. We've followed the rule, and thankfully nothing else has happened. I've been trying to convince my parents we should move, but they always say, "That's not how this works, honey," or, "As long as we're careful after midnight, everything's fine." Which brings me to today. My parents are out of state visiting my aunt. My brother left this afternoon for a weekend trip with friends. I'm home alone for the first time ever. I'm bad about checking my phone. Sometimes I don't look at it for hours. I finally checked it 20 minutes ago at 12:20 a.m. and saw a text from my brother sent at 9 p.m. Hey, I might have left the staircase door open by accident. Just FYI, close it when you get a chance. Sent 3.5 hours ago. Read at 12:20 a.m. I'm writing this from inside my closet. I think I'm okay so far. Maybe he remembered wrong and actually closed it. The only thing worrying me is that I'm starting to feel really cold, and I have this overwhelming urge to leave my hiding spot and go upstairs so he can find me. After my husband left, I thought being home alone would feel liberating. A chance to do whatever I wanted without judgment. Some nights it was nice. Eating takeout on the couch, taking long baths, reading until 2 a.m. without anyone complaining. But tonight I felt lonely. I needed company, needed normalcy. Part of my nightly routine was doing a final sweep of the house, gathering stray dishes, taking out trash, turning off lights as I went. My cat Luna usually followed me, but tonight she was outside and wouldn't come to the door yet. When I reached my daughter's room, I flicked off the light, grabbed a mug from her nightstand, and moved on. After finally coaxing Luna inside, I headed to my own bedroom. My daughter's light was on. I just turned that off. Hadn't I? Maybe I was more exhausted than I realized. I switched it off again and continued to my room. Luna stood beside me in the hallway, back arched, hissing at my daughter's doorway. The light was on again. I grabbed my phone and my pepper spray from my nightstand. 911 dialed and ready. Luna and I searched the room together. Under the bed, in the closet, behind the furniture. Nothing. Windows still locked. Luna relaxed as we left the room. I turned off the light. I checked the entire house with Luna following. It's not big. 3 bedrooms, 1 story, no attic or basement. My skin crawled despite finding nothing wrong. Every door and window was still locked. Maybe I was losing my mind. Maybe there was an electrical problem. I'd call an electrician if it happened again. I brought Luna into my bedroom and locked the door. Phone nearby. Pepper spray on the nightstand instead of in the drawer. The kids weren't here, so I didn't need to worry about them finding it. I'd felt relief and loneliness before during these kid-free nights. Sometimes anger at my ex for putting me in this position. Fear was new. I didn't like it. As I lay in bed facing the door, I reassured myself it was just exhaustion. All the doors and windows were locked. Luna would alert me to any intruders. I probably just forgot to turn the light off twice. I needed more sleep. I woke to Luna yowling. My bedroom door was open. Still dark outside, but light flooded through the doorway. I had 911 dialed before my next conscious thought formed. I fumbled for the pepper spray with shaking hands. I emerged from my bedroom to find every single light in the house on. I was sobbing on my neighbor's porch when the police arrived. Luna yowled from behind the door as my neighbor wrapped a blanket around me and pressed a cup of tea into my hands. The police searched thoroughly, but found no one. As gently as they could, they asked if I was on any medication or had been drinking. I hadn't. They cleared me to go back inside, but my neighbor offered her guest room. The next morning, I returned with Luna and my neighbor for support. The lights were still on, probably left that way by the police. Everything seemed fine. All doors and windows remained locked. I got a locksmith that same day. Expensive, especially the emergency rate, but necessary. Someone had entered my house and my locked bedroom. I couldn't stop shivering thinking about it. I had one more night alone before the kids came back. I couldn't decide if I felt worse about being alone or about this potentially happening when my kids were here. Better it was just me. At bedtime, I was methodical, room by room, starting from the furthest point, turning off every light. I made it to my bedroom and glanced back down the hall. The kitchen light was on. I had started in the kitchen. Pepper spray gripped tight. I took a step back toward the kitchen. The light switched off. I screamed and locked myself in my bedroom while calling the police. I spent another night at my neighbor's house. In the morning, I called my ex and asked if the kids could stay with him longer while I figured this out. He agreed. That afternoon, I had a security company install sensors on every window and cameras at both doors. If someone triggered the alarm without entering the code, help would be dispatched automatically. At least next time I'd catch whoever was doing this on camera. That night, no lights turned on as I went to bed. I barely slept, waking repeatedly from dreams of someone standing over me. In the morning, every light was on again. I called the police, who checked for the 4th time in 4 days and found nothing. The sensors hadn't triggered. No one appeared on the cameras. Was I doing this? Could stress cause sleepwalking? Was I losing my mind? That night, I triple-checked everything. Luna stayed in my locked bedroom. I forced myself to sleep. I woke to the sound of shattering glass. My bedroom door was open. Luna was gone. Light flooded through the doorway. I ran to the kitchen and stopped just before stepping forward. The floor was covered in shattered glass. Every cabinet hung open. Every single dish, glass, and bowl I owned lay broken on the floor. I was on the phone with 911 while frantically searching for Luna. I heard her meow and looked out the window. She was in the backyard. After the police left for the 5th night in a row, I cried myself to sleep at my neighbor's house again. In the morning, she helped me clean up the glass. Then we sat down to watch the security footage together. Surely whoever did this would appear on camera. But there was no one. We went through both camera feeds. No one approached either door. We slowed to frame by frame. When we reached the point, Luna went outside. The back door opens. My lights are already on. Luna appears in the doorway, her tail up. She doesn't look scared at all. She meows at something we can't see, then walks outside. After a moment, the door closes. I need to move. I can't live here anymore. My neighbor helped me pack in a frantic rush. I only packed during daylight. I stayed with her at night. Each morning when I returned, all the lights were on. Boxes would be knocked over. I found a small apartment across town. Similar size, though no yard for Luna. I started moving boxes and immediately. I've been in my new apartment for a week now. This morning, I woke up to find every light in the apartment on.